Hey there, this is Amie Register, your belligerent Bible worker, and I am just greeting you from Sunnyvale, California. I have not posted to this channel for a long time because it's more of a personal channel, and I've been busy doing a lot of stuff with my local church in the Ask a Christian project. But wanted to talk to you a little bit today because I realized that there are a lot of things changing, mostly because of the coronavirus pandemic. Not to give it more airtime than it needs, but a lot of things are happening, and I understand that church is going to be changed forevermore because of this. We have been experiencing a digital revolution for sure for the last several years, but now we have kind of a nationwide and worldwide impetus to get more online. So here's what we're going to look at today. Church is changed for good. That's what I was just talking about a little bit. We're going to look at the differences between video conferencing software, streaming, and recording your sermons or small groups. We're going to compare those. I'll give you my picks, my recommendations, and because you can start this, if you're a small church, you can start this for very few dollars and kind of grow with it. I'll also be giving you some equipment upgrades so that not only if you have a laptop, but if you have a few, let's say anywhere between $20, $50, a couple $100, some of the things that you can do to really stand out in your stream. It's actually going to get kind of competitive. So we'll do that, and then we'll talk about a few online program issues, any Q&A you guys have. Just want to let you know that if you are commenting from Facebook or from YouTube, I can see your comments, and I can throw them up on the screen so that other people can see them as well. And at any time, if you want to contact me, another way you can go to facebook.com/belligerent Bible worker. Send me a comment or message there. Or you can email me at Gmail. It's askachristianfriend@gmail.com. So let's get started today. It should take about 35 minutes, and we'll get in a ton of information. And this is going to be good for you just starting off a live stream, or if you want some new ideas. Or if your church has been doing live stream for a while, but now you have to do it from your home, I'll get you some good equipment, some good stuff to start doing that for yourself. So my church, Sunnyvale SDA, is still having our worship services meet in the physical church, which is pretty neat. It has a great environment, but that church system is more complex, more expensive. It takes a few weeks to get rolling. So what I'm showing you today is especially for smaller churches who lack budget or team members to do a major setup, don't want to run it from their church, but you are looking for something because you know that your community is going to fall apart if you don't do that. So let's get into it today. I want to talk to you about video conferencing versus live stream versus pre-recording, and some options for all of those. So here is module 1. I'm going to throw up some banners throughout just so that you can kind of track with me and know what section we're on, and especially for those who join later. So let's talk about conferencing versus live streaming. We're going to look at some pros and cons, and I'll give you my recommendations at the end. So all right, video conferencing. A lot of you guys are already doing your Sunday school or Sabbath school on Zoom, which is the #1 video conferencing software. And it's best for very small groups. A lot of people think that you can go up to 12. They actually allow, 100 plus on there. But I think that if you're going to use that software for what it's for, which is more intimate discussion, the best you can do is 5 or 6 max. So while you can definitely share your sermon via video conferencing, It's best for if you want to actually discuss something afterwards, if you want feedback, if you want to break into small groups, if you want to do your Sunday school, your Sabbath school that way. The pros of video conferencing are that you get both audio and visual, which is as close to being in person as possible. Multiple people could take turns leading out, could take turns leading the discussion or presenting something. The number one thing that I love about it is it takes very little prep. You don't need a lot of equipment set up. You don't need a lot of time. You don't need a lot of prep. And you can schedule, most video conferencing software allows you to schedule it in advance and promote your link through email, text, on your website, however you generally get your info out. You could put it on your newsletter. Through these video conferencing softwares, most of them let you record it for later use, so you can send it to someone who wasn't online at the time live. But I love it because it's live. You get real-time feedback, real-time discussion. I don't love it. Here are the cons. I don't love video conferencing because if you notice, once you get over like 6 or 7 people, there'll be a lot of stop and start conversations. Someone will say, and then people say, go ahead. Now you can get rid of this by using, some of them have like a hand raise feature. And if you are the facilitator, you can just call on people if you know who's on there. So if it's small, not a problem. If you know all the members on there, not a problem. If you want to facilitate heavily and call people out, that should be an easy workaround. But the bigger the group, just like in person, the less likely people are to speak up. And so what you think could be a very intimate, cool setting ends up being a little bit cumbersome, a little bit awkward. People don't actually want to talk out loud as much as they want to text or comment or whatever, it seems like to me. So that's kind of the cons on that side. Another pro as far as security is when you get to do these video conferencing things, you actually don't have to send the link publicly. You don't have to put it on your website. You can just invite the people in your small group. So it's very private, and that's another good thing about it. Live stream. So here's my thing. This is live stream now, obviously, but live stream is best when you have a larger potential audience that you want to preach or teach to or sing to, and you don't need as much actual discussion. A lot of people think that you don't have interaction, but you can have a lot of interaction, especially if you have somebody else looking for you, looking out for the comments for you. Pastor Rob is saying hi to me via comment right now. I can flash that up on the screen. So you can actually have some interaction, but it's hard if you're trying to teach the lesson and also read comments. So this program allows for, I'll talk about this program in a minute, but live stream is great. In my opinion, anything over 10 to 12, like that's definitely live stream territory because people will be talking less than you would want them to anyway in a video conference situation. So it's great for sermons, great for concerts, great for volunteer trainings, great for bringing on guests. Some of the pros of a live stream are that not only are they easy to schedule in advance, just like the video conference options, but they are marketable in a way that video conferencing is not. For example, if you're going to stream to Facebook or YouTube, both of those platforms allow you to upload an image and tag your upcoming event with labels that help people outside of your normal congregation find you in a search. So live stream is an evangelistic tool at that point because people who are searching for, peace or, Bible verses about anxiety during this time or whatever it is, if you have that tag on your stream, Facebook and YouTube both love live stuff, so they kind of bump it up, which means if you're doing any kind of live stream, you have a better chance of reaching a new audience. So that's interesting and worth considering. Additionally, your live stream will be automatically recorded and posted to Facebook and YouTube so that anyone can see it, find it, share it later. And as I mentioned, it is interactive in that you can choose live stream software that shows people's comments in the chat section. So the cons here are that it takes more to set up, a little bit more robust equipment, and you don't get the level of personal connection that you do with a video conferencing. Last option worth mentioning is that if you want to get online and reach people, but you have a poor internet connection or your time, pastors especially, this is for you, pastors who are in the Midwest where I grew up oftentimes have 2 or 3 churches, or even some here in the Bay Area will have like an English church and then whatever other church they're pastoring as well. I know some who are doing like dual language services. Anyway, you could have so much stress on you and be trying to lead like some small group or other things that the thought of live streaming and then going straight into a Bible study, another streaming thing, is just overwhelming. In that case, or the case where you don't really know if your internet service is going to be great, I think that pre-recording your service could be great. The pros are that you have the most control. You can even edit it and put it online if you want to, and there's a sense of consistency. You can have it uploaded Saturday or Sunday morning when your congregation is ready. And even if it's not live, they can be commenting live and you could be on there commenting too. So especially for leaders who are overwhelmed, you could think about pre-recording your sermon and just uploading it online to whatever service you wish or to your website. So here's my summary though. I encourage you to use Livestream at the very least for whatever church service you're doing, any group over 12 in particular, and to use video conferencing for your weekly small groups, Sabbath school or Sunday school discussions, catching up, studying together, partner praying. All of that stuff work great in really small groups in video conferencing. Everything else I think is really streamable. So here are my favorite picks for the conferencing software. Anybody have an idea? Anyone want to guess? Well, I bet you can guess that Zoom is my favorite. The first place recommendation goes to Zoom because they have a free option. And for churches on a budget, this is for you. The free option gets you up to 100 people on your meeting. But here's the kicker. You do have a 40-minute time limit. So I'll show you this Zoom pricing thing real quick. We can take a peek. And let me share screen. Sorry, it's asking me a bunch of questions. So here is the pricing plans for Zoom. You get this basic plan for free. You have up to 100 people and you can do one-on-one Bible studies, prayer times, visitation, whatever. You can do that. And then you can do up to 100 people for 40 minutes. And then if you need to upgrade, $15 a month will get you 100 participants, but unlimited. You can have 24 hours a meeting. So that might be a great option for you. Another option is Google Hangouts Meet. So Google Hangouts Meet gives you 100 participants per call with no time limit, but there is a small fee. You have to sign up for Google Suite, which is $6 a month, very affordable. I'll have the links available for you to look at that as well. So if you're really on a budget, Google Suite is awesome, and you'll have a lot of things. It works with Google Calendar, fully integrated bonus stuff that you can explore on your own. But first place goes to Zoom, just have great quality. Second place, Google Hangouts Meet. Now there's a third option. We're not going to spend time on it. I don't like it. The third option is Skype. It's free. It's awesome. The only problem is you have to register. Your participants have to register for any time that you get on there. So I don't like that. I think it puts an extra barrier between you and the people that you're trying to reach. So not my favorite. Anyway, you can decide if you want to explore that or not. Because if you have a very small group or you know the people in your congregation, you know they won't mind, go ahead and do that, or at least look into it. Okay, what about equipment needs for video conferencing? Fortunately, very, very low bar for entry. You can do Zoom or Google Hangouts Meet from your phone, even as a person who's facilitating, although I don't recommend it. It's best from your laptop. So you need a laptop, you need a functional webcam, either in your laptop or an extra one. And you need decent internet, and that's about it. You can go test your internet speed by going to google.com, searching internet speed test, and clicking, I think there's a little blue button that says run speed test. So you can run a speed test, and all you need to know is if your upload speed is greater than, I think, 1 megabit per second, then you're good for video conferencing. So check that. It's going to be more robust as we go into streaming. So also I'll give you some equipment recommendations later, and that will work for anything I tell you. Will work for both your video conferencing and your live stream needs. Okay, so on to what I'm super excited about. Oh man. Hey, Lisa, I see you there. On to what I'm really excited about. I want to talk about the live stream for just a second. I totally skipped my banner. Banner section number 2 is picks for video conferencing. Yes, it's Zoom. Now I want to show you my pick for live stream. And just to let you know, it's the software I'm using now, but let me tell you how I got about that decision. All right. So I am assuming that everybody watching this broadcast has a church Facebook page or a YouTube channel, or maybe it's not for your church. You just have a study group Facebook page or a children's Facebook page. I know Lisa's watching. But you have some kind of Facebook page or YouTube channel. If not, get them. You can use your personal ones, but whatever organization you're working for, you need to have that anyway. So it won't be wasted for sure. Because those are going to be where your stream ends up. So it is a little bit of a prereq, and you can go to facebook.com or youtube.com and sign up. But look, when it comes to streaming software, there are tons of options. Like I mentioned, our church has a really professional live stream option. And I will tell you 3 really nice, really professional ones. OBS, just the letters OBS, is the one our church currently uses. And it's free, but it's so detailed. There's a little bit of an uptick before you can know how to operate it. There's also another pro solution called Wirecast. They have a free version too, Wirecast. And there's Christian-owned vMix, which I love because they're Christian-owned and really committed to the mission. All these options are great. I'm mentioning them in case you are, you know that your church is going into that anyway, and you want to look up a professional solution. But what I think is most handy when we're in a quick start mode or when you want to drag and drop easy is a browser-based solution. And I am using a browser-based solution right now. Here are a couple to check out. BeLive, B-E-L-I-V-E. There's a couple of free options, I think, to Facebook only there. Lightstream is feature-rich, high definition. But I found it a hair more complicated to what I'm using now. And this is what I recommend. I mean, I've had so much fun learning this. It's called Streamyard. So Streamyard is awesome because, well, for lots of reasons, but you can stream to multiple platforms at once and have up to 6 guests waiting. I'm going to pull it up right now so you can see what it looks like. It's trying to pull up my broadcast. No. Well, it keeps on going back to my broadcast because I'm logged into it, but StreamYard.com. And I just love everything about it. I've had so much fun. Yeah, you can have 6 guests kind of in a green room, and you can toggle back and forth between people talking. So what that means for you is that you can have 6 volunteers sharing their story, or 6 people doing different parts of your training, or 6 people who are a part of your service. And of course, when one leaves, another can pop in. So it's unlimited in that, but you can have 6 people like ready to go. And then you can add and play video announcements easily. And here's the thing, for an additional fee, you can add your logo, brand with your brand colors, and a kickback to pre-record. You can pre-record your sermon on here and make it go live later. Another thing about StreamYard is I don't have to choose between going to Facebook and going to YouTube. Right now, I'm on the lowest paid level, which is about $20 a month. For $20 a month, I can pick any 2. I can stream to my personal page or the church page. I can add as many places as I want, and I can pick 2. So that is my pick for live stream software. It is not actually software, it's in browser, which means it doesn't take up any space on my computer. I don't have to have as much of a machine to run it as I would otherwise. So as I mentioned, I didn't mention the con. Okay, here's what I was going to tell you. This happens to me all the time. I've got thick skin, so it doesn't bother me. But one of the drawbacks for, you can hear I'm home. There's some puppies in the background. One of the drawbacks for streaming is now, instead of going just privately to different people that you've personally invited, when you're streaming, it's going to the internet as a whole. And the positive being more searchable, but the negative being that people that you might not really want to find you will find you and put distracting comments or things like that. So there are ways to get around it. Basically, just have somebody, like for example, right now, nobody can comment and be on the screen without me knowing and allowing it. But afterwards, when they're posted to be reviewed later, there can be some destructive comments on there. So you will need to go back to your Facebook page or your YouTube page and just kind of moderate and keep track of those comments just like you normally would. So that's a little bit of a negative for some people, a little bit of a worry. Anyway. All right, the next thing as far as streaming is you need to pick your service. Like I said, you don't have to pick with StreamYard between YouTube or Facebook, but you might only want to pick one or the other. You might pick something else besides StreamYard that works with YouTube better, Facebook better. And I will say that YouTube is best for organic search because YouTube is, Google and YouTube are the biggest search engines. And so there's just tons of searching, tons of algorithms going on. And you will get popped up with those tags that you can label on your video. Facebook is great for reaching your own committed tribe, but they're both good for sharing. They're both good for streaming, and they both are free. So there's way more, but those are the only ones honestly worth mentioning. So you can stream to your own website as well, which you can do with StreamYard. Hardware on this is, it does need to be a little bit more robust. It'd be optimal to have a computer with at least an i5 processor, 2.7 gigahertz, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and you should have an updated version of Windows or Mac OS X. But if you're using StreamYard or another browser-based, it might be flexible. So just try it out. See if there's any lag or glitches. And then just like video conferencing, you need a built-in webcam We'll talk about upgrades later. You need a built-in webcam and you need great internet. Even more than video conferencing, you need to have faster upload speeds. So you're looking around 4 gigabit per second. All right. That's it for that. You guys know what I'm picking and why. And now we're going to go on to the next section, which is equipment upgrades. This is the part where I needed most help with when I was getting my live stream stuff set up. So, and by the way, now's a great time to ask any questions on the previous stuff. If you were curious or had a question, I will take questions for sure for a while at the end and on Facebook or wherever you want to hit me up. But okay, so equipment upgrades, if you do only one thing to upgrade your broadcast, I would say that it would be audio. And you might be surprised, but people will forgive you if you don't have the cleanest, clearest, most high def visuals. They will forgive you if your internet is a little glitchy once in a while, but it's really difficult to tune in. And you'll have a lot of people tuning in, listening audio only while they walk their dog or, make dinner for their family or whatever. So audio is key. And I love the microphone I just got. I'm going to show you the box. The Blue brand, you really can't go wrong with a Blue brand, but this is the Yeti Nano. The original Yeti, I think, picked up a little bit more quality when it came to music, but it's bigger, bulkier, and I love the Yeti Nano. It's great for just, one person. I'm speaking into this mic right now. It's great for just one person, but it can also capture a group in kind of surround sound style. So you're just not going to go wrong with it. I researched it. It's under $100. And if you had $100 and that was it to add to upgrade, I would say get a high quality microphone. Doesn't have to be this one, but get a high quality microphone. You're probably looking in a $80 range. You'll be fine. I'll link the Blue Yeti Nano below, but that would be the number one thing that you could do. If you're going to get better after that, I haven't pulled the trigger on this yet, and hopefully you'll notice coming soon. But if you want to up your game, the next thing I would do is get a USB webcam. You'll have a clearer picture, especially for people watching on larger devices. I love the Logitech C920. And if you don't want to get the highest quality mic, the Logitech C920 does have built-in microphones. So you could have something better than your laptop. And if you're on a tight budget and you don't want to get the, really nice mic, whatever you do, you don't have to get that one, but look for one that most of them clip to your laptop. Look for one that also has a mount at the bottom so that you can screw it in. And I'll tell you why. It would be so nice if I was trying to do home church right now. It would be so nice if while I was speaking into the camera, I could be doing it somewhere else, and someone else could be driving discussion on the comment section. So make sure whatever microphone you get, whatever webcam you get, has a cord that will stretch to your computer, maybe 5 or 6 feet. Most of them are, but just double check if you can. 5 or 6 feet, because then you could have 2 stations mounted over here and have somebody else assisting you, talking to people, making sure that they have community. The third thing I would do if you want to up your game is a slick tripod. And I'm not saying it as an adjective. That is the brand name, SLIK. I love slick tripods. One benefit of doing this is if you are video conferencing, you could have somebody panning between people. Like, let's say there's a family doing music and you want to pan from instrument to instrument, or something like that. It'd be really nice, again, to be away from the laptop and be able to control a little bit more, have 2 different working stations. So last off, lighting options. Usually, honestly, sitting in front of a well-lit window, getting some natural light is fine. But like today's overcast and sometimes you have multiple people and lighting's just not ideal. So if you want to up your game, the last thing I would recommend is getting a ring light. There's light kits, there's all kinds of lighting options, but these are just easy and they're well done. This is just a little tiny 8-inch one on a monopod. I'll put that link in below, and that's like $22. But I love the big ones too. An 18-inch ring light is great for one person, but this is just fine if you're going to do desk work. This is just perfect for one person in front of a camera. So all those links are going to be added so you can find them. Because I know right now Amazon's running a little slow. If you're trying to get this up and ready by the end of the week, most of these things you can find great options at Walmart. Just make sure that they are USB so they can plug directly into your laptop. That means they're going to be plug and play, way easier to use than other things. Let's get to the last section. Let's talk a little bit about online programming issues. And I saved the best for last. Let me pull up my notes. Okay. So as you know, you have been viewing and participating in online church probably already, and that's why you're here. But as you know, there is a little bit of difference between online church and in-person church. And most of those are the audience is consuming your content differently online than they are in person. So here are just a couple of tips, things to remember as you're putting together your program. Number one, be really careful about lag time. When you're sitting in church and you see cute little kids, toddling up or whatever for your children's story, you know what's going on and you're never annoyed. But if you're sitting at home and it's difficult to switch from one person in your service or your training program to another, people aren't as patient. And that's going to be a theme throughout what I'm talking to you about. People are less patient because they can't see what's going on at your church. So another tip is to shorten your announcement time, at least at the beginning. If someone's joining you at 11 o'clock for your church service and the first 15 minutes are announcements, I'm so sorry. I know you want to reach your people, but they're not going to stick around. And not only that, the evangelism you were trying to do is not going to work as well, because people who are finding you because they want to hear the message. They're tuning in for the concert. They want something specific right at go time. So I would say do, one prayer, one lead in, one song, and then hit your message, whatever it is. And save the other announcements to later, or just put a link for someone to join your newsletter, or put the announcements, at the bottom somewhere else. But try to streamline as much as possible. Another thing is coming back to the patience. I hate to say this, but people have a lot less patience online for bad music because they're not there in person and they can just put Chris Tomlin on. So while you may think that you have the best special music, please try to be objective, because some of those musics are special, all right, but they do not need to be on the internet. And you also don't want, you want to protect people who the internet will be harsh on. And some people have thinner skin than others. And I'd hate for them to, watch the replay of your church service or your small group study and instead of feeling lifted up, have some kind of self-esteem complex afterwards. So just know people are impatient with off-key or terrible music, and either pre-record, do a better mix, or like I was talking about the microphone. If you have a microphone like this where people can sing all the way around it, and they can mix themselves, they can hear themselves, it might turn out fine. So I don't want to discourage you from trying. I just want you to be mindful that if you're trying to reach other people outside of your normal congregation, they might be hard on you. All right. So the next thing is that you can do things on live streaming that you can't do in real life, and I want you to take advantage of it, like encouraging people to talk, to use emojis. We don't have to be just talking heads. We can show more slides. We can pause and invite discussion through the chat or whatever. And a couple of resources for doing that, better slides. Many of you would be familiar with Canva, like Canvas, but canva.com. And you can get on Canva and make beautiful slides that you can toggle back and forth when, like, I did this at the beginning. Another tool besides Canva that you may or may not know of is something called polleverywhere.com. And you can involve your congregation through their smartphones through polleverywhere.com. You can make something like this where you do a poll and you have them text an answer in, and you'll see all of their different things come up. You can do multiple choice. You can do anonymous stuff or have people put in their names. Anyway, fantastic tool, polleverywhere.com, and another way to get people connected during your service and your sermon. I think we're coming up to the end here. Some special items. We talked at length last week about offering, because the offering game is going to change. Usually people have social pressure of having an offering plate passed in front of them, and that social pressure helps people remember to give. I don't think it's a negative thing. I'm not saying it like that, but there's a special time in the service set aside for it, and they're really a captive audience, and that is going away. So what I'm hoping you can do is, number one, put pop-ups, put things at the bottom of the screen, like I have this little thing, have a pop-up that you can change, that you can do an overlay just to remind people where to go. Have it in your link, linked in your box below, so people know where to give online. And you still have got to do please for digital giving. Let people know where their money goes. Make a strong plea for any local concerns. If you're trying to fill your Dorcas or your community service fund, that's something I know that in these times, even when people are unsure about their own paychecks, they will give to that. But make sure that you have a plea for it and plenty of links, plenty of opportunities to go to either your local site, or if you're in a conference like I am, we have conferences, we have a conference digital giving site. You might have an app for that. And there are some apps that you might even consider getting over the next couple of weeks to make it easier for people to stay in tune with the needs of the church. Another thing is a copyright music license. I've had a couple questions about that, and we've had questions about that in our own church. For the most part, if you are not playing an original artist, like just playing an MP3 or something, you'll be fine. If your musicians are covering a song, you should be fine. But if you are showing lyrics on screen, there are some size requirements. So I'm going to have this in my notes. You can look up the CCLI, us.ccli.com, and learn a little bit more about those copyright things. I'm only telling you this because if YouTube notices that you are infringing on copyrights, if their algorithms pick up the music that you're playing in the background, they won't post your video. All right, lastly, the last thing I want to mention is this whole thing is great. Having church online, from home or at the church, all these things are wonderful. But my question always is, what are we funneling people to? What's the next step for them? So it's great to have church from week to week, invite them, tell them the next sermon for the next week, or if you're in a series, all those things are wonderful. But how can they connect during the week? So if you're going to live stream, if you're going to do the video conversations through your whatever software you choose, before you go, please connect them to the next thing. Let them know how they can be involved. Let them know if they need help, who to talk to, how to sign up for the newsletter, anything you can do to make sure that you're not just being a one and done kind of church. Make sure that they can seek you and reach you If you speak to them once, they may want you to speak to them again. So that's about it for me today. I want to make sure that you can get a hold of me, get these notes if you want to. I hope they're helpful for you. I want to let you know I'm open for comments and questions right now. I don't see anything in my private chat, and but there'll be other ways you can get a hold of me later. Let me know what's next for you in your church. What's next for you in your small group? What are you having trouble with? Have you been able to find tutorials that are taking you through what you need to know? And I'm thinking that I can do some other tutorials, show you how to do a little basic marketing so you can actually grow during this period of stress. But anyway, once again, thank you guys. I am so happy to be able to serve during this time. I feel like God has raised up a desire in my heart to do this, and I want to share. So I will put a bunch of linked resources that we talked about, including the equipment, including some resources having just to do with going digital. I'll link all of those on the YouTube and the Facebook. And then if you want the rest of these notes, please email me and or find me on Facebook. Let me show you those real quick. Facebook.com/belligerent Bible worker. That would be my favorite. But if you can't get there and give me your email address, just email me at askachristianfriend@gmail.com. So that's it for now. Thank you so much. Please share this with a small church that you know needs to be online and digital to make an impact. And let me know also if there are any other things that I can tackle to help you in your church reach more people during the next 30 days. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks. Bye.